Yo, parish orphans and retrogrades. I have another horrible breaking synod news update after a week of synodality. Whatever in the sweet, fanciful Moses that is. I'm going to bring it to you, what the update is. I know what that is. I still don't know what synodality is, and neither do you. I came to you on Tuesday and only found out later on Tuesday that while I reported something that had happened on Monday, I'm a little bit in the pocket here. I'm playing in the pocket, as drummers say, a little bit behind the beat. But what had been going on right as I was going live on Tuesday was an outreach, LMNOPQ outreach to fantastic Catholics, led by Father James Martin S.J.
You're not a thing.
He's a naughty pet. He's the naughty pet. He gets naughtier at synods, boys. He really comes out to play come October synod time. This naughty pet, James Martin. So he led an outreach among many of the synod cardinals and other members. It was kind of an after hours thing. In the Jesuit curia in Rome on Tuesday. And I didn't find out about it till late Tuesday night. And here's what he said. This wasn't James Martin. This is a bisexual man, a bisexual Catholic man, married to, you'll never guess this, another man. He thinks he's married to another man. And he told those present, let's allow love to be expressed, boys. That's what he said. I'm getting this from Michael Haynes, who reported it, and he cited back to LifeSite. So this is a bisexual. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I hope I'm doing it right. And here's what it said. Oh, so what I'm also going to do today, aside from, read you a little report about what's going down, I'm going to give you a little review, courtesy of LifeSite News, a review of what's gone on each day over the last week at this synod on naughty pet synodality, which has been really, really cloistered, covered up, hushed. It's been cloistered. They're really keeping this thing under wraps because, Pope Francis learned what's happened at the previous 4 or 5 synods. The conservatives find out, blow it up, and don't let these people have their party. So I'll do that in one sec, but for now, I just want to go find out what's the dealio with the cardinals, synod cardinals, who attended Father James Martin, S.J., the naughty pet, his LMNOPQ synod event promoting the expression of Homo sapien love. And I thought it was an after hours thing. After hours. I think I'm borrowing that from Jim Gaffigan. After hours. But maybe it was during the broad daylight. On and on till the break of dawn. Am I right, Father James Martin, S.J.? The LMNOPQ briefing event for members of the Synod on Synodality was hosted by After Hours Father James Martin, the naughty pet, S.J., and attended by a number of cardinals. Get a room, boys. Here, let's find out what went down.
Oh no.
That's just an idiom that I'm using.
Boy.
A number of cardinals and other prelates, other members of the Synod on Synodality attended a pro-LMNOPQ event hosted by you-know-who, and it's getting annoying me saying it. Yeah, I want to sort of kick my own ass. And his outreach group in Rome today, during which an SSA married man, he's married, you'll never guess to whom, yet another man, called for, quote, love to be expressed. I'm sure You get a bunch of these fantastic boys together, fun boys together at a synod. You know, it's like, have you ever tell of what all the midgets did when it was like the largest midget gathering ever on set on the filming of Wizard of Oz. I heard it was Bacchanalia. That's what these synods are, man. It's like Olympic Village, I think. And so they're expressing so much love. So much love you could catch syphilis. Get to know the real people behind the mask who are trying to live a Catholic life, said Christopher Vela today. Let's allow love to be expressed in the most... Sorry, I won't say it. I mean, they're not trying to live a Catholic life, Christopher. You know? They're doing like the most famous sin, the one that cries out to heaven for vengeance. Famouser than murder, Brohim. If you express love that way, then you need several extra doctors on call compared to the normal person. Doctors who can take care of you down there. And you need a priest and an exorcist. And you're not practicing Catholicism. That's like saying I'm practicing Catholic, but I also do voodoo. But it's way grosser, even. Vela leads the Malta-based LMNOPQ Catholic group Drachma and spoke today in the hall of the General Curia House of the Jesuits in Rome. You know they have some wild parties there. The Jesbians in the Jesuit house in Rome. At an event held on the sidelines of the Synod on Synodality. He lives as a bisexual Catholic man married to, you'll never guess, yet another man. Dude, that's interesting. This is like news. I didn't get the paper. A man can be married to yet another man. Organized by you-know-who's pro-LMNOPQ group, Outreach, and the Jesuit-run America Magazine. The event after hours. The event saw cardinals and other members of the synod gather together. They gathered together so thoroughly to hear the testimony of LMNOP Catholics, Q Catholics. It began with a welcome, a big buttery welcome from Father Antoine Kerhul, SJ, who serves as the secretary of the Jesuits for 10 big years, boys. Featuring a number of, I'm just going to do this whole thing like a cheeseburger commercial from Carl's Jr.
With rich creamery butter.
Featuring a number of individuals who are married to members of the SS, or SSA guys. The event was called, What is the Experience of LMNOPQRSTUV Catholics? What is that experience? It's very after hours. Cardinal Chow, SJ, Synod member and Bishop of Hong Kong, led a prayer during the event, while the second youngest Synod member, Julia Oseka, led the closing prayer. Nice, Julia. Here's the closing prayer. Jesus, our Lord, teach us to journey with each other with respect and gratitude. Well, you got to respect one another's, soft tissue. There's not a lot of respect for soft tissue in this crowd. We do not take for granted this privilege to listen, to learn, and to walk together as synodal companions. Chow prayed, adding, "Oh, Holy Spirit, send us your guiding light of truth." Just having a little fun with you because it's Chow. "So that our ignorance and prejudices can merit a way through this synodal encounter and a new morn marked by mutual respect and empathic, I think they meant some It's empathetic. Understanding can take shape in our church for our LMNOPQ sisters and brothers, as rare as for ourselves and our church as a whole. That's how Cardinal Chow did it. Joining Martin and Vela on the panel was Juan Carlos Cruz, a member of the Pontifical Commission for the Protection of Minors. Uh-oh. Wolf in the hen house? Much? Carlos Cruz? And I'm not just, or whatever your name is, Juan Carlos Cruz. I'm not just saying this in like a racist way. I mean, how good a look is it? After 3 decades of Lav Mafia types abusing the hell out of altar boys sexually, to have a bunch of groomers at a conference by and for them, attended by Juan Carlos Cruz, member of the Pontifical Commission for the Protection of Minors, wolf in the hen house. After hours. Whom Pope Francis is famously said to have told that God made you Jehe, fake and Jehe, right? Pope Francis told him that. God made these Pope-splainers, man. Remember how there were like a bunch of Pope-splainers that were new converts in 21 and 22? These boys have gone silent. Because Pope-splainers generally, the ones that were on the right wing of things, they don't like, the after hours set. But they came into the church and they're like, what's all this negative talk? Everyone's saying that Pope Francis is propped up by the Lavender Mafia. That's nonsense. Then they're like, oh, we learned about what the state of the church is. We're going to shut our big mouths, our big trenchant mouths. There's so many instances, plenary instances of Pope Francis. I forgot about this one. Told, Martin and Vela was, this isn't a well-constructed sentence. I like LifeSite, but it's joining Martin, the naughty pet, SJ, and Vela, who's what? I forget who that is. Is he the guy, the bisexual? On the panel was Juan Carlos Cruz, a member of the Pontifical Commission for the Protection of Minors. I guess he's the one Pope Francis famously was said to have told that God made you this way. No, God does not do such things. Not true. Not even the tiniest eensy bit true, boys. So there you have it. You can listen to the liars that say that this Synod on Synodality is not about LMNOPQ normalization, or you can listen to just your own lying ears and eyes. When some information oozes out, leaks out of the Synod, like a venereal disease. That's what information is, basically, when it comes from this icky Synod for creeps. This is who it is. It's a pontificate by and for sexual perversion, right? And here I mean the term sexual in the more capacious usage, in terms of identity. Like, you kind of have to be dysphoric. I want to go to a tweet that I made. Really, Steph did this tweet. She's off Twitter, so you think. Ask Your Husband is down. But she still tweets a bunch under my name. That's a secret of the trades. And I want to go to this tweet to talk about the more capacious understanding of the term sexual, because you have these funny, septuagenarian broads who are marching around out there, all 12 of them.
Baker's dozen.
A baker's dozen, saying they want, which is 13, saying they want justice. Why not me? So that's sexual confusion, right? Then you have guys like the naughty pet, James Martin, SJ, and Vela and Cruz, and all these guys that get confused about not necessarily gender roles or anything like that. That's gender dysphoria. But they're confused anytime they're around the boys. in terms of who, you know, who they find alluring. Do we have that tweet up?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So Steph tweeted, pretending to be me. That's a little gender dysphoric, Steph, by the way. Great turnout of under a baker's dozen of geriatric gender dysphoric retards. And it's this Kate McElwee. And she said, fanning the flames of justice. Synod
24.
24. I mean, she did this 3 days ago. Can we zoom in on some of these dames?
Let's see. Yeah.
Looks like a lot of whites. I see a non-white. That means I'm just trying to give a report on the demographics. I see a lot of flat tops. and curls. I see some of that weird sort of radioactive carrot orange color in a couple places that some of the elderly dames get. And they're saying they're holding these geisha type fans, manual fans. Some of them say, why not me? The answer being, take a look at yourself, for heaven's sakes. Others say, ordain women. Okay. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you include this lady up front, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's a little more than a baker's dozen, Steph. Okay,
I'm sorry. That was uncharitable. I apologize. It's over a baker's dozen. I feel ridiculous.
It's a rowdy crowd of 18. Baker's dozen plus 5. So there you are. So and it's funny because if you ever read comments on Twitter, which I usually don't, even well-intentioned people are saying wrong things. They're like, well, you do get ordained. You can become a nun. No, guys, that's not ordination. That's not ordination. Women can't be ordained. Okay. So in general, I would say that the last half of this pontificate of Francis, the pontificate of Francis, has been steadily, constantly devoted to sexual confusion in terms of the sexual act, normalizing that which can't be normalized, and sexual role confusion, which really isn't much different at all. It's not saying much different, but just, hey, can these old hags get ordained that say they want justice? It's really, really lame. So I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? I mean, you had not lots. There are a couple Catholics who typically have joined me in terms of criticizing the synodal process. Say, look, I'm kind of tapping out. I'm bowing out this time. There are people related to, Crisis Magazine and 1 Peter 5. So, I'm going to do them. Maybe they got contacted by a bishop or something and said, hey, no more after hours jokes about all of the ballyhoo happening after hours at the Synod. I don't know if anyone really makes these jokes in the Catholic world besides me, but they at least were covering it. And now they're just saying, well, women aren't going to be ordained. Okay, no one ever thought they were. They're going to be pseudo-ordained. And there's not some big, dark, lavender conspiracy. Well, there really is. I don't know that they said that. I'm trying to figure out why. I mean, give me one reason to take seriously any of this nonsense. I mean, just utter sinful, I'd say hijinks, but that's Tom Sawyer tricking his friends into painting a fence for him. I mean, there's nothing really funny about it, but if you don't laugh, you cry. And so we just call it ballyhoo. I mean, they're just trying to confuse the world to the tune of sex. And it's funny because Francis does the typical doublespeak of saying, he'll say, hey, being confused about, your sexual identity comes from the father of lies, Satan. And then look at the Synod on Synodality that he runs. Just as synods of 2014 and 2015, he was like, we are not about to give communion to divorced and civilly remarried, okay? You know that's adultery. And then he just does it. And even the people that report it, like yours truly, we don't talk about how odd doublespeak is. I mean, because I understand it. I understand that it works. Look how many people it still works on after nearly 12 years. But it's still, it would serve people better probably to just talk about how, but you said this. You said the opposite. I'm not talking about like going back on a promise, like someone saying, I'm never going to eat an everything bagel again, and they're just addicted to them, and then 2 days later they do it. I mean, Francis saying ideologically, this just can't happen. This isn't part of the church. This isn't Catholic. Sorry, boys. Sorry, fun boys. And then like quietly, he just releases, hey, fun boys, it's party time. You know, it's so odd. What do you guys think of that? Now, I'm going to give you a general review of what's happened at the Synod each of the last days of the week. But first, I want to report to you an opportunity that's arisen out of this marriage class on me and Steph's new book, Leave and Cleave. I mean, it is so dynamite. This is the best class I've ever taught. I thought it was Aristotle's Ethics, but I really enjoy this class. Do you want to say something about this, Steph?
Oh, it's been so fun, like us being able to do that together. We've gotten some really great feedback from a bunch of the couples that are in the class, so it's been very encouraging. And we do have the recordings. So if you want to join late and I think we still have, 5 or 6 live classes ahead of us. But if you want to see the prior 4, we do have, when you sign up for the class, you can see and hear the prior recordings. But
yeah, so
it's super fun.
We're 5 in. 4 left to go. You know, each class is on one of the 9 chapters of this book, Leave and Cleave, which you can get on timothyjgordon.com. It's just been the best class I've ever taught. It is so dynamic, so much fun. And let me read I'll read anonymously some feedback we've gotten. We feel like we have a new lease on life because of your marriage class. We're Catholic matrimony junkies and have a great 29-year marriage of 2 best friends. I've been saying for decades that good marriages are based on good friendships. But yours, this, is the best workshop we've attended in 30 years. He's talking to me. This is a text. Key takeaway is marital island, which is the central concept in this book. No one else really matters but your wife or your husband, and of course your kids, which allows us to be healthily detached to the world, to others, and to outside projects and busy work ministries. Our vocation clearly much simpler, being focused primarily on personal sanctity and each other's virtue growth. So the best workshop we've attended in 30 years. We're hearing this so much, and I had one very specific pledge about specifics when I started this class, and I talk about it every night. I said, this book and this class, Leave and Cleave, the One Flesh Marital Workshop, is going to be about specifics. We've already written books on patriarchy, Case for Patriarchy and Ask Your Husband. Those prove that theoretically patriarchy is a good thing to be returned to. It's central to Christianity. You can get those books. We're going to show you how to do it. 5 years after I began writing Case for Patriarchy, I released this book with Steph, Leave and Cleave. And it's how to do it once I convinced most of Catholicism, together with Steph and some of my friends. And if I'm being fully honest, my brother had a big hand in this. And now pretty much everyone, the people don't always give due credit, but everyone's like, yeah, patriarchy is Christianity. 5 years ago when I said that, Matt Frad, Trent Horn were like, wait, what? Now everyone's like, yeah, that's true. But they need to know how to do it because everyone's got this gender dysphoric, feminist-run, femme-tyrannical household. How do you reverse it? Well, this class shows you how in 9 very specific ways to make sure it is the happiest home, which is to say the most patriarchal home. But some people need more help. Some people need more help, and I've been contacted a lot since the class began. And they said, will you guys do coaching? So we have, it was something we've been looking into anyway. It's something my friends Will and Mike do from the CMASC podcast. Except the coaching I want to do is 2-on-2, me and Steph, on the phone with the needful couple, husband and wife. Not just me, the man on man. Sorry, I'm not talking Synod stuff anymore for now. 2-on-2, weekly calls, bi-weekly, meaning really bi-monthly, twice a month. Zoom sessions with a cohort of all of the people we're coaching. You'll have my text for sort of emergency questions, and you get some other some other goodies in the package, some classes and books and stuff. Basically, all the books and classes we've written on marriage. And it's going to be an intensive coaching program. It's 4 months at a time. It's up on Timothy J. Gordon right now, and we expect a cohort, an initial cohort. We're going to start it right after this class ends. That'll last 4 months, each cohort. And I want 6 or 7 couples only. So again, everything about rules for retrogrades tends to be like kind of small is beautiful. I'm not looking to do, I could get a bigger cohort. I could get 20 or 25, but quality drops. I want to do an initial cohort of 6 or 7, keep it small, keep it really personalized, one call per day of the week or something. So go to timothyjgordon.com. Is that under enroll, Steph?
There's a tab at the top, marriage coaching.
So the marriage coaching is an exciting new thing we're offering. So check it out. It's very intensive. It's very personalized. See if that works for you. I get tons and tons and tons of emails, and a lot of times I'm happy to give a little free advice in a short paragraph email, but this is probably the way to take it. timothyjgordon.com. And what else? After hours.
People are singing it in chat. Like everyone's saying that they're going to be thinking after hours for the rest of the day. I think hold on, let me give proper credit to Jim Gaffigan. Also, I want you guys to support the show, the ways how. We need some local support. And if you've been thinking you want to support some show that you watch regularly on YouTube, it would be awesome to do it this way. So support us on locals, like the video, subscribe. We're trying to get to 100,000. Okay, here we go. Here's Jim Gaffigan. Wait, where's after hours? I thought I had it. Maybe I can find it for you.
Okay. Okay. So now here's the rest of the dealio with the synod, just so you feel that you've been briefed. Here's the brief on the rest of the days, because I haven't come to you every day because they're keeping it under wraps, and it's not that easy to get info. Anthony Stein did
I found it.
Yeah, you want to play that?
Here, I'll see.
Anthony Stein did a show the other day saying, look, interest has dropped in this, and they're kind of keeping the interest low intentionally because they need to do their funny stuff, but they're going back on all the things they said. There seems to be a kind of vox populi, or at least a pretend struggle between the ladies and the Synod Fathers. I think this is more just, what would you call it? Peronism, fake sort of color revolution, where Francis was saying, look, we're not going to do women deacons. We can't do that. And, at most we'll do sort of non-sacramental deaconettes. And then they're having the ladies come out here and say, no, we want it anyway, and we're going to do it in our small groups, the Circoli Minori. And they're just going to say, oh, we got overwhelmed by this grassroots push for women deacons. So I think that was Anthony Stein's thesis, which is interesting. I respect his opinion. And that's kind of what we're seeing. I mean, that's consistent with what we're seeing. I still kind of think they're just going to do the non-sacramental thing. Maybe they'll just go for sacramental ordination and just kind of burn it all down. That's what they do after hours. You want to play that?
Okay, let's see if I can find it. Here. I don't know if you can hear it, but...
Here from my grandma's...
Here.
Push that porn on you. Some poor guy just turns on the TV like, after hours. It's 9 a.m. I'm on my way to a business meeting. After hours. I'm here for my grandma's memorial. After hours. Oh, maybe after the month.
But I'm here for the Synod on Synodality. Darn it. After hours. So it turns out the Synod on Synodality is after hours. You know, they're just such gross perverts. And that's what it boils down to. The whole lot of them. They're gross. They hate God's law. They hate Christianity. They hate the structure of the church. And it's all just an attempt to rip it all down through fun and fun boys after hours. Just using people's worst instincts against. I mean, it's not like this is the worst instinct among a large group of people. It's the fun boys only, the lavender mafia types. But they know how to party after hours, evidently. Okay, so moving backwards, Thursday, October 10th, Cardinal Koch links Synod to Ecumenism and responds to LifeSite's question. At a Synod press, this is from LifeSite, just a nice review. At a Synod press briefing Thursday, Cardinal Kurt Koch, lovely name, Kurt, spoke on the intimate link between the Synod and ecumenism. Koch, prefect of the dicastery for the promotion of Christian unity, said that among the most significant fruits, there is the intensity of the ecumenical promise that marks it. Synod.
There are some significant fruits there.
Oh, man. Yeah, when you're running, your name is Cardinal Koch, and you're running a synod basically on pelvic sin for fun boys, you got to be careful when you start talking about significant fruits. These are the most significant fruits in the entire church, all gathered in one fruit of the loom basket. All right? So Koch said that among the most significant fruits, there's the intensity of the ecumenical promise that marks it. Synodality is the condition to be able to continue our ecumenical journey toward the visible unity of Christians. So, I mean, the good news is they had enough decency to assign Cardinal Koch to ecumenism. I think it would be awkward even for James Martin S.J. if Cardinal Koch was trying to go to the, to the LMNOPQ thing. That would just, everyone would be laughing. Nomen est omen, right? So they're like, no, Cardinal Koch, you have to do the ecumenism stuff. It's just going to sound too dirty. You can make your significant fruits remark, but it's just too perfect, isn't it? Koch also responded to LifeSite's query regarding the key document released earlier this year, placing the papacy subject to, are you all right, Steph? Placing the papacy subject to ecumenism and synodality. See a video of Cardinal Koch's interchange with Michael Haynes below. And I played that one the other day. It's kind of boring. Thursday, October 10th, Cardinal Mueller's absence over an illness. I think he had a hernia, which pray for Cardinal Mueller. We need him there because he's one of the big critics of the whole fruit of the loom process here. Yesterday, Wednesday, October the 9th, new cardinals have a pro-LMNOPQ record. Amid the busy daily schedule of these synod boys, Pope Francis's announcement of new cardinals Sunday took many by surprise. Some of the cardinal elects are at the synod, while others are not. A number of them have been vocal in their praise of the synod as a new way forward for the church, perhaps explaining their selection by Francis, but their record on LMNOPQ issues is troubling. Okay, that's just fruit of the loom, Wednesday, October 9th news. Also, yesterday, Wednesday, October the 9th, Chinese bishop praises secret deal. Sorry. According to Dr. Paolo Ruffini, prefect of the Dicastery for Communications, a Chinese bishop used his free intervention on the synod floor to praise the secretive, we're not dealing with the after-hours stuff, that's secretive. This is secretive, 2018 Sino-Vatican deal. Bishop Joseph Yang Yongquang, I think LifeSite's having a little fun with his name here. I don't think this can really be his name. Bishop Joseph Yang Yongquang, please don't laugh, made the comments in front... These names. At least it's not Bishop Joseph Wang Yongquang. Made the comments in front of the other synod members, though the response was not reported. The bishop was announced as having been appointed Bishop of Hangzhou earlier this year. God bless you. Elected as vice president of the state-approved church in China in 2016, he is one of two bishops sent to the synod from mainland China, thus approved by the communist authorities in the country. In 2022, he was elected as the vice chairman of the Chinese Catholic Bishops Association. The Sino-Vatican deal is due to be renewed this autumn, according to Cardinal Parler, who's the Cardinal Secretary of State. That's bad news, but kind of boring. No jokes to make, really, aside from his name. The Tuesday, October 8th news was the commission overseeing a final document is named. Who do you think is going to be on this commission? A bunch of Orthodox guys who love Jesus and love the church? No. Following a vote among the synod members on Tuesday, the full 14 names of the commission tasked with overseeing the drafting of the final document were released. They include 7 members appointed by vote, 3 appointed directly by the Pope, and 4 others participating by virtue of their office. Also Tuesday, October 8th, Father James Martin briefs synod members on accepting Homo sapien love. He briefs and maybe even debriefs some of the members. I just mean he tells them once, then he tells them again, of course. Accepting Homo sapien love. I mean, this is what today's, thumbnail and a kind of lead story was about, this Tuesday article. In a very closed door meeting in
with
significant fruits in the Jesuit curia house in the shadow of the Vatican, Father James Martin, S.J., after hours, and his outreach group held an event for synod members. Synod members, let's go, boys. Time to be briefed, then debriefed. A bisexual Catholic man married to another man. What? Invited the assembled synod cardinals and other members to, quote, get to know the real people behind the mask who are trying to live a Catholic life. Let's allow love to be expressed. We want to express it everywhere, express it all over the synod floor, right? Just love being expressed so freely. Also on Tuesday, October the 8th, the head of Latin America comments on Amazon Right. I also comment on that. That was fielding a question from LifeSite's Vatican correspondent, Archbishop Jaime Spangler. That's a confusing name, right? And that I mean, if we're thinking of DARPA and the fleeing Germans post-World War II from Europe to South America, then the name Archbishop Jaime Spangler just, reeks of that phenomenon. He's OFM, Order of Friars Minor, said that married deacons and priests may be a help for regions with few priests. Oh, I missed this. I thought I dealt with this. So how are they going to do the viri probati? They're always going to do viri probati married priests for the Amazon. And then they're just going to open it up to everyone. Remember I told you that like 5 years ago? I haven't been talking about this as much because it's not as bad. It's not as devastating to the universal church as deaconettes. Deaconettes is like a closed way, so it's basically undoing an irreformable doctrine, blah, 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 blah. As you probably know, priests in the Catholic Church being married does not contradict any hard doctrine. We've had them before. We have them in some rites. So I don't care as much, but it is the third Sankt Gallen agenda item. He also confirmed to this correspondent, I guess Michael Haynes, that the Amazon rite and indigenous enculturation of the liturgy is taking place in Brazil. So mark your calendars. I don't know what to say about that. Spangler, a cardinal-elect, he'll become cardinal on December the 8th, I'm guessing, serves as the president of the CLAM, the Latin American and Caribbean Episcopal Council associated with the Amazon Synod. And his question comes in light of recent developments regarding the implementation of the Amazonian rite earlier this year. Monday, October the 7th, we're just moving back each day of the week, leading religious sisters on women called to priesthood. This was Irish Mrs. Doubtfire, remember? With her little like bowl cut, little Julie Andrews bowl cut, but it doesn't work for her the way...
Pumpkin pie haircutted freak.
Pumpkin pie haircutted freak. Replying to a persistent question about women in the church, Sister Mary Barron, president of the International Union of Superiors General, stated that the issue of female deacons was being addressed incorrectly. Remember this? It's being addressed incorrectly because you're consulting Catholic theology, which liberals always think is wrong. Instead, we want to address it by asking the Spirit. Which Spirit, you may ask? The Spirit. Could that be the spirit of the evil one? We were never told, probably. But address the Spirit. You don't ask the church or theology or scripture, holy writ from God himself. No. That's silly. You need to consult the Spirit. What do? Buy a Ouija board? I don't know. Don't do that. But this is just what these evil people say that want revolution in the church. Here's what Irish Mrs. Doubtfire said. We tend to look at it from the question of, can women be ordained in the church today? Yeah, I mean, that's the way to ask the question. And I think we have to look at the question very much from the Spirit. She said, well, she didn't say but she said that. I added the Is the Spirit calling women? Because after all, some women do sense a call to priesthood. Yeah, some women have the impulse to get that haircut you do. That doesn't mean they should. Some women feel called to put on pants and act like a man. Some women think they should get out there on the dance floor at weddings. None of these are things that anybody should be advised to do. But they think them all the same. Some guys, Sister Mary Barron, here in America with North American football, sometimes in December or January, huge Eagles or Giants fans in the coldest parts of the country feel called by the Spirit to paint their bodies all the way, and in not but their unmentionables, get out there in sub-freezing temperatures and wave a foam finger for the Giants or the Eagles or the Redskins in some of the coldest parts of this country, or the Packers. So they felt called by the Spirit too. Does that mean they should have done that? Hell no. Come on, Sister Mary. Then on Monday, October 7th, a day of prayer and fasting was called, following the calls by Francis and Cardinal Pier Battista Pizzaballa, who not only has a balla dope name with pizza in it, seems to be a pretty holy guy. October 7th was marked by prayer and fasting for peace in the world, especially in the Holy Land and surrounding region. In a letter sent to Catholics of the Holy Land, Francis wrote that prayer and fasting are the weapons of love that change history, the weapons that defeat our one true enemy. Who would that be, Francis? What, the trads in America? During the synod meetings, the members also held a collection for the Catholic parish in Gaza with over 60,000 euro, $65,000 amassed in total. And on Sunday, October the 6th, the Pope announced the 21 new cardinals, praying a rosary for peace. Now, on Friday, October the 4th, synod members demand, I didn't catch this, they demanded a welcome for female priests. Remember those in like the Muppets Take Manhattan, those frogs? Remember when Kermit hits his head? And it's a serious injury, don't laugh. And he hits his head, and because he gets hit by a car crossing the street in Manhattan. And he goes to work for what, like a marketing firm run by frogs, and they always go, That's what I want all you guys to be saying, or at least thinking to yourselves as you hear.
We demand it.
We demand it. That synod members themselves demand welcome for female priests. And what are all their names? All their names rhyme.
Like Gil,
Kill, and Phil.
Gil.
During the free interventions on Friday, which take place periodically during the synod meetings, we don't even know if they're using the Circoli Minori method of the small groups, because they're not really letting any info out. Individual members of the synod called for the church to accept the marginalized in the church. The old social surd statements. As announced to the press corps on October 5, which was the day after this, the unnamed synod member said the church must welcome all, including women who feel called to the priesthood and LMNOPQ people. Now, here's the thing. We can welcome these loonies, right? This dual group of loonies. We can welcome them to church, but we can welcome them and say, you're welcome to come to church, but you're not allowed to be the priest. LMNOPQ people, if we're talking about SSA people, you're welcome to come to church. But you can only receive the sacraments if you're not dipping your wick, you know? Sorry, you don't get to have your cake and eat it too. You don't get, this has been, jokes aside, this has been the serious beating heart of the Francis pontificate. Call it the have your cake, eat it too pontificate. All they're trying to do is give the sacraments, ordination to women, Eucharist and confession to active sod layers, people who lay grass for a living, communion, and I guess confession. That was never quite clear for remarried adulterers, scumbags who divorce their husband or wife and then marry someone else. Remember Sunday's reading? Jesus says you're adulterers. So Francis has just made this whole thing about giving sinners the sacraments before they've repented. What does that do? That destroys the concept of mortal sin. Simpliciter. See? It's like, hey, God's a God of forgiveness. Yeah, he's also a God of justice. So before you can go back to the Eucharist, you have to make a promise in a special format. It's called the confessional. After accusing yourself of all the sins you've committed, you make a promise through your penance. The prayers, usually the priest has you pray. I'm not going to do this again. Okay, now you can go back and get the Eucharist. Your favorite sin, pick your favorite sin, whether it's laying sod or combing your hair like a boy when you're a girl, or playing priest when you're a girl, or disobeying your husband if you're a wife, which is a mortal sin. Disobedience is a violation of the fourth commandment if you're a wife. Or whatever. Yeah, of course, God's a God of mercy. He's also a God of justice. How do these coexist? It's called confession. You go into this special little room. You accuse yourself of all your sins so no one else does it. You promise not to do them again. Then you're welcome back into the fold. I do it too. I don't have those sins, but I have other sins. Everyone does. So really, they're trying to make these special lobby classes, the social surds, the marginalized. have a leg up on the rest of us. All of us have sins. Most of our sins aren't as weird as some of these weirdos' sins, but it doesn't matter. If it's venial enough to be mortal, we'll be sent to hell for them if we don't confess them. All of us are playing with the same rules. We don't have these weird inclinations to pretend we're a boy or act like a boy or a girl in the bedroom or whatever. Okay. But everyone's got his favorite sin. And all they're trying to do, which is what the radical left, led by this sort of, Old Testament sense of revolution, revolt, have always been trying to do, left, inside the church, outside the church, in elections, in the West, in America, one's coming up. They're always just trying to give a leg up to the weirdos. It's called bio-Leninism. Let the weirdos run the streets. Go watch Dark Knight Rises. It's bio-Leninism. Let the weirdos run the church. The weirdos don't have to confess their sins to go back to the Eucharist. People that are otherwise faithful Catholics that have tinier or less weird sin, maybe they're mortal, but they're less weird. Mortal sins, you still have to follow all the rules. You still have to confess your sins and promise not to do them again and refrain from doing them. Oh, and what happens if you do it after you promise not to do it in the confessional? You go back to confession. How many times will he forgive us? Jesus says 7 times 77. I think he just means, remember, 7 is the number of perfection, so it means infinitely. As long as each time you, now, your confessor, why am I doing a whole thing on confession? You guys know what it is. But as long as you, each time you go, are sincere, you will be forgiven the next time. But at some point, a good confessor will say, why are you repeating the sin? But according to our Lord, 7 times 77, this means infinitely. As long as when you promise in the confessional not to repeat the sin, you meant it, you will be forgiven. As long as you try and you're not going back to the Eucharist until you stop trying. I mean, you can only go to the Eucharist until you stop trying. Then if you repeat your sin 3 weeks later, you got to stop going to the Eucharist. Which is why state of life sin, someone that's shacked up with an adulterer, maybe a hetero adulterer or a same-sex paramour. Ugh. If you're shacked up, you can't go back. You can't, because that means you have plans to, have fun after hours, like every day, all day and all night. Want to rock and roll all day and party every night. And you can't do that. It's just the practice of the faith. Remember, even Gandhi said if he met one perfect Christian, he'd become one. That's a stupid thing to say. He said a lot of stupid crap. But no, that's why Gandhi, baby, that's why we have confession. You just have to do confession the right way. You have to do it sincerely. If you do confession sincerely, you can come back to the fold. So that's the state of the Synod on synodality. Catholics out there have spelled it S-I-N-O-D. They thought that was funny. It's not as funny as some of the things we've said here. Oh, last thing. Also on Friday, October the 4th, I missed this. A bishop slates the niche issue of female deacons. Speaking in the Holy See press briefing room, Bishop Anthony Randazzo, I've never heard of him. I've heard of most of these guys, strongly criticized the promotion of what he termed niche issues at the Synod, including the female diaconate. Synodality can often be focused on niche issues of the West, he attested, adding that such niche issues are promoted so much that they're an imposition to other areas of the church. Well, thank you. This is a sensible thing to say. But now they're not going to follow through, as Anthony Stein has pointed out aptly. They have either plants or tokens or maybe sincere guys saying, this is a niche issue. Why are we talking about this? But they know what they're going to do. It's a pig in a poke. It's a rigged up thing. Related to the question of female deacons, Father Jerry Murray, New York priest and EWTN commentator, condemned the continued push by some for female deacons, noting how there have never been female deacons in the church for a reason, because Jesus didn't intend that, and the apostles understood that. I love Father Gerald Murray. Also, Thursday, October 3rd, pro-abortion group protests. On October the 2nd, first synod meetings, an update on female deacons. We're going to get that midterm report, so stay tuned for that. We want justice. What, can you put that tweet up again? Why not us?
Let me find it.
Come on, have you guys looked at yourself? Get yourselves together. You know why not you.
I mean, I can list 5 things off this picture alone.
From the picture
Why not
alone.
them?
Look at your haircut. Look at you get some makeup on. Get yourself together. We'll put a dress on. Throw something nice on. You're on TV, baby.
Okay, let's get it up here.
You know? They're always asking these things. This is how this bio-Leninism works. I'm serious. They're always asking things like, why not us? What are we, freaks? It's like, well, do you want us to say it? Yes. Yes.
Trying not to say it.
Yeah, we are trying as hard as we can not to say it. Yes, you're freaks. Nobody wants you to be priests. Nobody really wants to sit next to you at Mass, but we're supposed to because we're Christians.
If you were men, you would probably be weeded out for the priesthood.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking at that tweet. That's a funny one.
After hours.
After hours. Anthony Stein said, I legitimately thought that was Kamala Harris rally. That's hilarious. Yeah, I really do like Anthony Stein's material. And I appreciated what he was saying the other day. And he put a good, I think, spin on it that I think captures what they're doing. All right, so there you have it. Also consider joining one of our other 2 live fall classes as you're considering all these other things. That is the Aristotle's Ethics class on Tuesday nights or the Apocalypse class on Monday nights. Go to timothyjgordon.com, click enroll, and contact us. You can email if you're curious about the marital coaching. It's now up on a tab at timothyjgordon.com. God bless you all. God bless the church. Pray for Pope Francis. Pray for all of us. Pray for the U.S. election. It's all really weird because the bio-Leninists run things. But we know God wins in the end. Deus Volt. After hours.